The nightstone. In the faintly lit confines of an office, piles of aged case files, faded photographs, and enigmatic maps are scattered about. The desk lamp softly illuminates Bob, his weathered face marked by years of confronting the shadows. He holds a magnifying glass over a small obsidian fragment, no larger than his thumb. This is no ordinary shard. It appears to draw in the light, radiating an eerie chill. As he scrutinizes it, his expression morphs from intrigue to profound discomfort. He had discovered it entwined in the roots of an ancient oak in Blackwood Forest, the scene of a haunting disappearance from years past. Bob's eyes narrowed as he noticed a faint, almost imperceptible inscription etched into the shard's surface. He carefully traced the strange symbols with his finger. They weren't any language he recognized, yet they seemed to writhe and shift under his gaze. A chill, deeper than the shard's cold, snaked down his spine. He set the magnifying glass down, the nightstone resting on his desk like a malevolent eye. His mind raced, piecing together fragments of half-forgotten cases. The office, filled with the remnants of past battles against the forces of darkness, seemed to close in on him. Each file, each photograph, each map held a piece of his history, a reminder of the mysteries he had solved, and the ones that still haunted his sleep, their darkness mirroring the shards. A worn leather journal, tucked away in a drawer, called to him. He pulled it out, flipping through the pages until he found the entry from 5 years ago, the day his partner, Maria Rodriguez, vanished without a trace during an investigation in Blackwood Forest. The details were scant, but the raw emotion in his own handwriting was palpable. He had never given up hope of finding her, but the trail had long since gone cold, buried under layers of unanswered questions. A sudden surge of determination coursed through him. The nightstone was more than just a clue. It was a summons, a thread connecting him to Maria's disappearance and to the darkness that lurked within Blackwood Forest. He had to reopen the case, delve deeper into the past, and uncover the truth. No matter how terrifying, the shard seemed to pulse faintly on his desk. As he gathered his worn trench coat and fedora, Bob glanced back at the cluttered office. The dim light seemed to flicker, casting long, dancing shadows that resembled grasping claws. A promise of resolution, tinged with a sense of impending doom, hung in the air. He stepped out into the night, ready to face whatever secrets the nightstone held and whatever horrors awaited him in the depths of Blackwood Forest. It had begun. Echoes in the dark. Bob's first stop was the dusty archive room in the basement of the Havenwood police station. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and forgotten secrets, each echoing the shard's unsettling energy. He pulled out the box labeled Cold Cases 2018, his fingers brushing against the yellowed files. He was looking for one case in particular, the vanishing of Emma and Olivia, twins who disappeared from Blackwood Forest, leaving behind only an unsettling silence. The shard had a similar energy to the strange occurrences reported during that investigation. As he delved deeper, he found a photograph tucked away in the evidence folder. It showed 2 young girls, their smiles bright and carefree, a stark contrast to the dark fate that likely befell them. The photograph seemed to hold a clue, a faint reflection in a window behind them, a figure lurking in the shadows. He held it up to the dim light, his heart racing. The figure was tall, cloaked, their face obscured, but their stance radiated a predatory intent. A shiver traced his spine. He knew this figure, had seen it in other cases, always at the periphery, always connected to the unexplainable. Bob rushed back to his office, the photograph clutched tightly in his hand. He spread out the maps and case files on his desk, searching for any connection to the mysterious figure. His eyes scanned the details, his mind racing, connecting the dots between seemingly unrelated cases. He remembered a similar case from a neighboring town, a series of disappearances attributed to a drifter, a phantom who moved like smoke. The description matched the figure in the photograph. Bob knew he was onto something, a thread that could unravel the mystery of the vanished twins, the nightstone, and perhaps even Maria's disappearance. He could hear a faint humming and traced it to the shard, now sat atop the photograph. With a newfound sense of urgency, Bob grabbed his coat and headed out into the night. The streets were quiet, the town asleep, but his mind was wide awake, filled with the echoes of the past and the unsettling energy of the shard. The whispers had begun. He knew where to find answers, a place where the shadows held secrets and the truth was hidden in plain sight, Blackwood Forest. As he walked, the nightstone in his pocket seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, a countdown to a revelation that would change everything. The hum had become louder now, almost a chant. Into the heart of darkness, Bob's footsteps echoed through the silent streets as he made his way to the old, abandoned Blackwood Manor on the outskirts of town. The manor, once grand, now stood in ruins, a decaying husk rumored to be a nexus of dark energy, a place where the veil between worlds was thin. It was a place where cultists were said to gather, their rituals shrouded in secrecy. As he approached, he could feel the weight of the nightstone in his pocket, a constant chilling reminder of his mission's urgency. The manor loomed before him, a silhouette against the moonlit sky, its broken windows like vacant eyes staring into his soul. The air inside the manor was thick with dust and the scent of decay, tinged with something else, something acrid and unsettling. Bob switched on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness, revealing a scene of utter desolation. He navigated the maze of crumbling corridors and decaying rooms, the silence broken only by the creaking of the house and the frantic beating of his own heart. He was looking for something specific, a hidden chamber, a focal point of the manor's dark energy. As he explored, his mind raced. The figure in the photograph, the drifter, the vanished twins, Maria, it all had to be connected, a web of mystery. He was determined to unravel. The nightstone pulsed in his pocket, its energy growing stronger, guiding him. It was almost deafening now. Suddenly, his flashlight caught a glint of something metallic in a darkened corner. He approached cautiously, his senses on high alert. As he brushed away the dust and cobwebs, he revealed a hidden door, concealed, behind a tapestry depicting a scene of ancient, disturbing rituals. The door was made of dark wood, etched with symbols similar to those on the shard. The lock was old but sturdy. With a deep breath, Bob pulled out his lock-picking tools and set to work, the silence amplifying the clicking of the tumblers. The nightstone pulsed in his pocket, a steady, rhythmic beat that kept him focused, even. As a sense of dread washed over him, the lock clicked open. Bob pushed the door aside and stepped into the hidden chamber, the unveiling. The air in the chamber was colder, heavier, charged with an energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. The walls were lined with shelves filled with bizarre artifacts, strange texts, and jars containing unidentifiable substances. In the center of the room was a stone altar, and on it lay a single, leather-bound book. As Bob approached the altar, the nightstone in his pocket pulsed violently, emitting a low hum that resonated with the energy in the room. He carefully picked up the book, its cover worn and blank. As he opened it, the pages began to turn on their own, flipping rapidly until they stopped at a page filled with strange symbols and a chilling illustration. The illustration depicted a ritual, a circle of cloaked figures standing around an altar. A figure on the altar, and a dark, swirling vortex above them. The symbols matched those on the nightstone and the hidden door. A chill ran down Bob's spine as he realized what he was looking at. A guide to the very ritual that had likely claimed the twins, and possibly Maria. Suddenly a voice, cold and ancient, echoed through the chamber. "Looking for something?" Bob spun around, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Standing in the doorway was the cloaked figure from the photograph, their face still hidden in the shadows. "Who are you?" Bob demanded, his hand instinctively reaching for the shard. In his pocket,